Welcome back to Ozarks Tonight. Well, it's been about 6 weeks since states across the country started shutting down due to the coronavirus. Now some are saying they are ready to reopen for business yet again. Our political analyst, Dr. Brian Calfano, is joining us today from Cincinnati. Brian, thanks for being here. Now, South Carolina and Georgia, amongst other states, have announced they're going to start reopening soon. Here's the question. Is it too soon?
Well, and I'm not an epidemiologist or a medical doctor, John. Good to see you, by the way. But I have to say, politically, these governors are walking a tightrope, as everyone really is with all of this. And I think we are all in agreement as Americans that this is just a situation where there are no good choices. And you can certainly understand why a lot of people who have not been directly impacted by COVID-19 are chomping at the bit to get back to work, to get out and about, to get the economy moving again, whatever phrase you want to use in terms of getting life back to something regarding normalcy. The problem is, and this is something that I don't see acknowledged as much by those who are clamoring for an early open, is that we just don't have the testing. We need the testing to scale, and we need it to be done on large swaths of our population. At this point, total, throughout the country, we have about 4 million tests that have been conducted for a country with about 327 million people. So just over 1% of the public has been tested for this. It's contagious, it can be deadly, and even if it's not deadly, it can put people in a situation where they need intensive medical care. The issue here has always been about the hospital capacity. It's always been about the worst case scenario where you have emergency rooms and hospitals overrun and people unable to get medical care. They make movies about this sort of thing. This is the kind of scenario that governors and the president want to avoid if they're smart. But by the same token, because we've done such a decent job of flattening the curve, as everybody likes to say, we're almost the victim of our own success here politically, because people point to the numbers being fewer than what the models projected initially and saying, well, see, this is why we should get back and get into our lives again. What I'm concerned about, and if I were a governor of these states, I would be losing sleep over, is the possibility that they open up, even with modified social distancing and some contact tracing, and we go right back to where we were in mid-March. And you start to see the numbers tick up, and you start to have problems with hospital capacity and enough ICU beds. There's simply not enough surge capacity in our system at this point to deal with another big onset. And there's no scientific evidence at this point to suggest that we can have any confidence that this thing goes away in the warmer weather. So all these things are variables that if you are a politician, you probably never thought you'd have to deal with when you ran for governor or even ran for president, but here we are. Is it too soon? Probably from a medical and a scientific standpoint. Is it too soon politically? Depending on your state, the answer is no, and I got to think a lot of these politicians are just hoping against hope that the experts are wrong on this one and the modeling is exaggerating the impact that all of us getting back together again are going to really have.
And just taking a look at our governor here in Missouri, Mike Parson held off a little bit later after, Kansas City, St. Louis, Springfield had already issued stay-at-home orders before Governor Parson issued one across the whole state. And now there are protests around the state to open things up as well. Just talk to the place the governor here in Missouri is in right now. There's people on both sides. It's hard to please everybody.
Right, and Parson is in a bit of a predicament because he's in a red state. Of course, I'm in a red state too here in Cincinnati and Ohio, but it's not quite as red, if you want to think of it that way, as Missouri. A lot of people concerned about what they see as government overreach and the government coming in and putting all kinds of unreasonable constraints on their movement and that sort of thing. And I think Governor Parson is very sensitive to that kind of criticism, as he should be. This is an election year for him, obviously. And he wants to make sure that he does this right. And that tends to mean not being overzealous and putting the thumb of government down on how people are able to live, essentially. But again, the downside politically, if they get this wrong, no one's going to care come July and August if we've got numbers that have ticked up beyond our wildest imaginations. If you've got hospitalizations and, God forbid, deaths, politically, that's going to be the death of some of these politicians. And so it's the kind of situation where you're not going to get a lot of credit if you follow what the people want and then things go south. There are very few people who are going to go away quietly on this one and say, oh, well, you know, you did what we asked you to do in opening things back up. Yeah, it got really bad here with the casualties. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Now, these politicians, and they know this, they're going to go down as having presided over some very bad political policy decisions. And really, there's no good answer here. I don't envy them. I don't really know how you thread that needle effectively, except as to say what some governors are saying. We have to get testing up to scale. We have to be able to know who has this, who has had it, who might be immune to it, where these folks have been if they do have it, and those who are most vulnerable, we have to make sure they've got access to the care that's available to them through our hospital system. That, in absence of any kind of really effective treatment or a vaccine, is all we've got. And at this point, the testing's not really there yet. So this is why we're kind of in this situation of hoping the social distancing has done its trick. But again, Governor Parson, Mike DeWine here in Ohio, governors in Georgia and South Carolina, all over the country, these red state governors have a really tough time because they have the same constituency as President Trump. And the president has been sending out mixed signals, talking about social distancing, but also talking about liberating these states. And the governor's not going overboard with some of their restrictions. It's just a very difficult time for all of them.
Definitely. It is a tough place to be. And, you know, just like you, I don't envy any of the decision makers in power right now. It's a tough spot to be. Our political analyst, Dr. Brian Califano. Brian, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll touch base with you again here soon.
You bet. Thanks, John.
Absolutely. We'll be back with more right after this.